Dave Umahi, somebody died in your residence. A young girl that you, according to what we are hearing, before we were hearing that that lady is a physiotherapist. Now we are hearing that this lady is a Dave Umahi's nurse. Only God knows whether it's nurse with benefits. You know, these useless politicians, them and women are like this. And also, we also need to be very, very mindful that most of these politicians are ritualists. Most of them are satanists. Most of them are occultic men and women that use people to do all sorts of things. So this woman died in your place in Ebony State. We are hearing that there are 2 of them that came to that place. They are meant to spend some nights or whatever. Whether it's one night they were meant to spend or whatever. One person died. The other girl is at large. Maybe they don't even buy that one to hide evidence. And the thing that is creating a problem and making viral news on social media now is number 1. Such a tragedy like this. This is a scandal. It is nowhere in any mainstream news. Nobody is talking about it. So Tinubu and APC have shut everybody up. Don't talk about this. The only people that are talking about this matter are just people that are content creators on Twitter, and also ordinary individuals are talking about this. This is somebody that is dead. Makanoboro, one minister. Because her father is not the minister of this or senator this or senator that. When I want to sweep her death under the rug. Now I'm hearing that the father is saying that there should be no investigation. The father has brought this affidavit saying that there should be no investigation by the police and that they should just go and bury the girl like that without any autopsy. Oh, guy, I'm here to tell you that it's not possible. Okay, this is beyond your control. In a sane country, everybody around you, including you people and everybody in that Dave Umahi's residence, supposed to be under police investigation and police custody, including the minister himself. In a sane country, it's Dave Umahi, you're supposed to have stepped aside and you're supposed to have turned yourself to authorities for investigation. But in Nigeria, we know what you guys do. And guess what? If you not like, rush and bury this girl because we know what is going on. Dave Umahi is already paying you people to shut up. Dave Umahi has already threatened this girl's family, her father and everybody around the family to shut up their mouths and bury this girl like that because he does not want us to know the truth, which is that his hand is in the death of this girl. Talking nonsense. May God buy all of you in that Nigerian political corridors that kill Nigerians and you think that you get away with it. A lot of Nigerian politicians are murderers. A lot of you have blood on your hands. We have heard so many things about so many of them killing people. From Abio to Yaya Bello to now Dave Umahi, even Tinubu and the rest of them. A day is going to come when all of you will answer. Not only will you answer to the court on this earth, but you people will answer to the court of heaven. Okay? So if you not like, bury that girl sharp sharp. Her body will still be exhumed. You guys will not be in power forever. Dave Umahi, you and Tinubu and APC. Otuno Rana Nigeria. You people will not be in power forever. Her body will be exhumed. If you like, bury her in the next 10 years. Her body can still be exhumed and proper forensic investigation carried out in the United States or anywhere in abroad. And then we'll find out exactly what happened. And then you will suffer for what you have done, if your hand is involved in it in any way or the other. So don't think that Nigerians are fools. Oh, you will just shut up your mouth and you make a press statement from your people and everybody will carry on as usual. You don't go work like that. And this also reminds me, you Dave Umahi, you are a minister of concern. You are a particular minister of concern because we are also hearing that there are 5 engineers that I don't know what they had to do with you in terms of the job that they did. These people are missing till today. Nobody has seen where these young men are. Look at them. Nobody has seen them again. They disappeared. So it is not the first time that somebody died or something like this is happening around you. And a kuzoku scandal of Umahi na pia kanala mandin kamarogola mandin kegina ina ichotis amapu. So you Dave Umahi, neme. That is what I can say to you. Go and read the numbers. Neme. The handwriting is on the wall. God is counting down for you, Dave Umahi. And all of you criminal politicians in Nigeria that put your hands in all kinds of criminality. God is counting down for you people. A time will come when all of you will face the music. Yes! You will not get away with it. If truly you murder this girl, Dave Umahi, you will not get away with it. Every single one of you criminal politicians in Nigeria that have killed anybody, directly or indirectly, all of you will get away with it. Not talk about those that stole public funds. Criminal, what is the name of that criminal one that forged an agency? None of you will get away with it. I'm urging Nigerians, you see next year, this election, it is not an election. What we are going to give them is a revolution. Because what they are preparing for us is not an election but rigging. And we prepare a revolution for them on that day. All of this one criminality, it must come to an end. We are hearing that Abio said, oh, there will not be any investigation. Eh? Can you imagine? A young girl died in a so-called minister's house. And until now, there has not been any police arrest. Police has not said anything. Evil, wicked souls. Evil people.
So finally, Honorable Minister, Professor in Practice, Dave Umahi breaks silence. Let me show you the video.
Information I want to correct is that the lady in question was like a daughter to me.
Personally, I want to say something. What if it was another politician, Peter Obi in brackets? What if it was Peter Obi? This kind of incident happened in his house. Would Honorable Minister, Professor in Practice, Dave Umahi, give this man a chance to clear his name before running to the media? That's my question, and that's my major concern. And for people saying Igbo people do not love themselves because they love to attack each other, come on, this is politics. You don't even need to love each other in politics.
So what is the difference between Odogwu Asaba and Minister of Works Dave Umahi? Unfortunately, both of them are accused of relatable crimes or circumstances of crimes that looks very related. However, one of them is in the police cell. The other one is briefing the press. One of them is locked up by security men, heavily locked up in a cell and guarded or being guarded by security men. The other one is privilegedly being guarded, protected, and ushered into any event by security officials, both police, army, DSS, and everybody. One of them has the victim story already told and publicized, shared everywhere, read by news and content creator, while the other one doesn't have any victim story. Unfortunately, this may be true. The victims may have even shared more detailed, harrowing experience and story, but it may have been buried somewhere that cannot be retrieved. One of these suspects is being viewed from an angle of criminality. This is a crime. Unfortunately, the other one is being viewed from an angle of political witch hunt. Whilst one of them is being looked at as a criminal, and people are castigating all sorts of write-ups, right? Making him a villain, insulting, castigating, which of course I don't have a problem with. The other one is paying media influencers to detail a narrative and a rhetoric that you'll be shocked. Somebody came to comment under my post and said, let's allow the police to do their job. That same person is commenting somewhere to say we should not allow people like this to live. One of them, again, is already a pronounced criminal without a law court, without reviewing evidence. The other is already sent, even with glaring evidence or relatable evidences of same. A Nigerian state. One of them may end up in jail for several years. The other may get a patronage or maybe a new political office, new feathers, new chieftaincy title, new academic title, or maybe the family members will even be promoted and given more elective position. Funnily enough, one of them has the victim dead in his own house, according to report. The other person has the victim committed suicide somewhere else. Both of them, circumstances at which they were found dead looks very relatable. But then again, the one that the victim had died somewhere else has to pay, of course, should pay. And that is not even no excuse. But the other person that the victim died in his house is the one that addressed a world press conference of the circumstances, including accurate timelines. 3 minutes after he called his boyfriend, the shower was running. And you said you don't live in that apartment. You were not at home on the day the thing happened. One of them is a nurse in practice. The other one is studying nurse. Do you know the problem with Ofure and Mary Habila? They might meet in heaven somehow. And then they would tell their stories to say we died in relatable circumstances. One of them will see his victim is accused, or the accused, or most likely the perpetrator of the crime that brought her there, in jail, or facing the consequence of the crime. The other will see her own accused person getting more political patronage and being celebrated around the country. That's a problem of the Nigerian state. Two persons committing same crimes. And I'm not trying to water down whatever it is that Odogwu Asaba did with the younger favor. But you see, if you are really sincere with yourself, you will see that these two crimes are related. And a serious society will not just have the populace view it the same way. The institutions will handle it appropriately. It did not take 24 hours. The activists rose up and Odogwu Asaba was caught, apprehended, and he was apologizing. The other person is explaining to the world. As I talk to you now, the parents of Mary Abila, they have made no comment. They say it's God that bringeth, God that taketh. That everything is fine. They leave it for God. Autopsy, toxicology, histology, DNA, nothing. It is Mary Abila that died in the house of a Nigerian minister of works that was buried few days after, and missed so much money to even keep her in the morgue for several weeks, several months even. Favor, or as it were, whose parents are broke dry and no hope, has been deposited in the morgue because investigations needs to be concluded. This is not a country. This is a crime scene.
A lot is happening in this administration, and it's just too funny. In a sane country, right, this man is not even supposed to be making any public appearance or whatever. In fact, he's going to be on suspension. He's going to step down for at least the period when this case is going to be treated, until, investigations are done and we finally find out what, led to that lady's death. But of course, this is Nigeria now. Anything can happen. And like I always say, women always pray. We just pray to the society in Nigeria. And it's just so pathetic. Look, as a Nigerian living in Nigeria, you are prone to any kind of misfortune, right? Then what still you are a woman living in Nigeria? A Nigerian woman living in Nigeria, your own is even double. Because see, even the men are the ones spying us. Yes, the men are the ones spying us. Minister Dave Umahi in this video said he ordered an autopsy. But the story we are seeing right now is that the family has come out to say they are no longer interested in carrying out any autopsy, that they are going to bury the daughter like that. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how all of a sudden the family do not want to know what led to the death of their child? They just want to go bury the daughter like that. It's really pathetic. And this is Nigeria. We all know what must have happened behind the scene. However, this is the same man that is a victim of his, Madam Tracy, that accused him of wanting to forcefully force himself on her. Of course, the story is everywhere. You guys must have seen the story. The same man that was accused of something similar, that was accused of, attempted rape or something of that nature. This is the same man that is saying, God, Nigeria. Nigerian politicians they are built differently. They are built differently. So Dave Umahi wants us to buy this story that he ordered an autopsy. All of a sudden, the family do not want an autopsy. They are releasing an official statement. Isn't it contradicting that all of a sudden the family members who are carrying the real burden, the pain of losing the child, losing a family member, losing a loved one, are actually the ones rejecting the autopsy? And Minister Dave Umahi actually is the one wanting an autopsy, coming out to release a statement after the family must have said, no, we don't want. All of a sudden, we do not want an autopsy. The story is not clear. But one thing is for sure, that whatever has been paid to these family members is so sad. It's so sad to the family members that you lose a family member like this, and all of a sudden, all you want to do is bury the case. You don't want to look for the root cause of the reason why your family member had passed. It's really sad.
Hi, welcome back. There is something that we need to know as people in this country. You know, you yourself that is going to let yourself to be pied. You are going to be the one to lose. Because if you allow yourself to be killed by any politicians or any civilian, you'll be the one to lose. There is something going on that a lot of you guys understand already. Not the one of this Dave Umahi, the one where a guy forcefully, slept with a lady, where the lady later buried herself. Every one of us um, was aware of it, and we know that that kind of thing is going on. But there is something I want everyone to think. I want you to think far, to compare what happened to Dave Umahi, or what happened in Dave Umahi residence, and what happened between the lady and the guy I just spoke about. If you check it well, you will know that those things, they are similar. But the guy who forcefully slept with the person has been arrested, but Dave Umahi is walking freely. Though I'm not trying to exonerate the guy who forcefully slept with a lady, but in rule of law, the rule of law should be served to every individual equally. There is a reason why I am saying this. The reason why I'm saying this is just because some rich men, the way they are doing today, there seems to be, stronger than the law, and they are doing whatever thing with impunity. Whatever thing they do, they go unpunished. No one call them for questions. If this has to be any other politicians, like from the opposition, let's say a person from either ADC or NDC, you would have heard this current government questioning those people. But just because this is internal problem within the APC, they have decided not to talk, and they have kept mute. Even Umahi himself was given a permission to even talk on the media, to express himself yesterday without any police interrogation. But there is one thing that Nigerians need to know. If we keep on allowing some politicians to be, doing as if they are tougher and stronger than rule of law, there is where we will going to as a nation. Because Dave Umahi once came out to quarrel different politicians lately. He came out and he was talking nonsense. He never knew and he never saw all this coming. But now, a lot of you persons need to know that the way law treats you, and those politicians, the way law treat them is different. Don't look at the law as a law that is there for everybody. That is why I initially say that if you allow yourself to be quiet, you will be the one to lose. But there is one thing I want to let this current government know. If they allowed this Dave Umahi to go scot-free without any strong investigation, once anything happens to any, or once this kind of similar issue happens to any opposition, they shouldn't come to question those opposition, because this nation that we are, or this government of the day, is not only there to fight the opposition. They shouldn't come to break our law, because this is not how our law was before they came. This current government have come, they have destroyed our law, they have scattered everything to make sure they get what they want. But one thing they should always keep on their mind is that everybody's remembers, and no one forgets all of this that is going on. That is what they should know. And to those of you who have anything to say concerning all of this, drop your thought below. Thank you.